appreciate that huge, man.
When we link up is a vibe.
Pretty bitches link up, bitch, get dressed, it's up, we finna slide.
Pull up on my head with gang, I'm right here posted with the guys.
I'm with the gang, don't make them bang. We come in peace, you should coincide.
Who got them works, who got them bangs? You in the beach, go inside.
Bang, 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 ski, ski, ski. Why your nigga looking at me?
Pop that ass, left right cheek. Fuck your nigga, just go cheat.
We outside, we shaking ass, we at.
Yo, what's up, world? It's your boy Jay Smiley, and welcome back to the EYMF podcast, powered by the EYMF Enterprise. And before we get started, you know I gotta shout out the best podcast team in the podcast world. Ladies, the guys are gonna hold it down for y'all today. But with that being said, I do want to introduce our guests. We have one of the hottest podcast hosts in the game coming to join us today, y'all. She comes to us all the way from Alabama. Y'all might have seen her all on YouTube, as she has one of the dopest podcasts titled the Sip and Sit Podcast. With that being said, it is my honor, my pleasure to introduce the one and only Miss A Milli. Thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Pew, 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 pew. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. You know, it's so weird hearing that, you know, you have a dope podcast, and I'm like, me for real? Like, what? Yes. But I appreciate y'all for listening, but you know, I'm not the only one. Y'all got a dope podcast now, so y'all got to give a round of applause to yourselves. Come on.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
That's love.
The elevator, you know.
Thank you.
Just a little elevation, that's all.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. So we definitely want to thank you for joining us. Like you said before, you know what I mean? The energy is definitely going both ways, but we want to focus on you right now, because what you're doing right now is motivating for us. We are fans of your work. We see the content and the quality that you put into your work. We see the people you interview, the questions you ask. Just it's everything from top to bottom. Your thumbnails, the intro. I can go on and on, right? But I'm gonna stop. But I can keep going on and on.
Yeah, don't get them going. He'll read down your whole life.
I promise you. that one day, August 5th. Just walk us through how Miss A Milli was formed, how the Sip and Sit podcast was created. We want to hear about your journey and everything that came with it to get you to where you are right now, ma'am.
Well, oh my gosh. Again, it's a pleasure to come on your platform. I love what you are really doing, what you stand for. But my journey really began, like, if you want me to take it back, like when I was a child, I had always had dreams of, you know, being in entertainment. I was always known as the girl, oh, you talk too much in school. All the teachers would say, she talks so much, she's smart, but she talks so much. All my progress reports, everything. And I would get in trouble by my mother. And it just, you know, I wanted to be in entertainment. I wanted people to hear my voice. I am the loudest one in my family, number one. Out of my friends, I'm the one that talks so much, not gossiping or anything like that, but just like, you know, when you want to be quiet and I'm the one, girl, let's talk. Come on, what's up? Like, I was always into entertaining people. And so that's how I really stepped into entertainment. I'm a graduate of the Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama. Okay. Shout out to all of my Hornets. And I majored in communications, radio, TV. So that is really how I got my start. I started interning. It was called Then Clear Channel, is now since been changed to iHeartMedia. And I worked in radio, intern, and I interned for Alabama Public Television. But something about radio was my calling, something that was like, you know what? People need to hear your voice and you need to do something. And I would do the announcements in church. I would do the announcements at when I was in high school, MCing church programs, MCing programs, or any like organization, and I just stuck with it. Like the Lord blessed me with a gift. And so when you're blessed with a talent and when you're blessed with a gift, you have to use it. When you're pregnant with your passion, it's going to show no matter whatever it is. So I had been pregnant with my passion of speaking, of using my voice, of radio for so many years. And how I got to the Sip and Sit. The Sip and Sit actually was a blog that I started on Instagram. And I was trying to be like the Shade Room. I was trying to do all of that. And I flipped it. No, I felt like nobody was following me or liking my stuff. So I said, you know what? I have to use my voice. And then the pandemic happened. Working in radio where I was promotions director. And I had a boss to tell me, you need to know your place as promotions director. You're not going to be on radio. Your voice is not good enough. And you know, when you hear that from a male, of a black male, that kind of like makes you feel like, am I not good enough? So I said, okay, I'm gonna prove to you I can do this. So I would start doing commercials. I kept practicing my voice. I knew I had something. Everybody else in the station knew I had it and wanted to do it. So it wasn't until the pandemic that the Sip and Sip podcast was formed. I had lost my job. I got laid off. And I went through a deep depression. And I was like, I got to get out of this. Through the grace of God, God let me out of my depression. God said, use your voice. And I flipped my little Instagram blog to a podcast. And I started doing lives on Instagram Live. And I would get like people I knew like that were entrepreneurs. And I knew then, like, okay, that man told me that I don't have the voice, but God says I do. So I kind of revamped the whole Sip and Sip podcast. Well, the Sip and Sip blog, the brand, and I turned it into a podcast. And I've been going up ever since then to prove to that person that said, you will never have your own show. You will never do this. And now look, I interview people every week or every 2 weeks whenever I drop my podcast. And I'm using my voice. God bless me with the voice, and I'm going to use it because every time, like I said before, when you are pregnant with your passion, it's going to show. And it doesn't matter who said that you can't do it. God says you can. So, and that's how I got to here. God put me here to use my voice as my pulpit, and that's what I'm doing.
Man, where is the church organ?
There you go. There you go.
Come on in the
room.
Hey.
For real. If you took the words out of my mouth as a person, you would be that. Literally, that's it right there. That's the blueprint.
We are nothing without God, man. We
yes.
We put the work in after that. Let's go.
Yes,
we are nothing. We are nothing. We cannot even function without God. People are saying, "Oh, I can do this on my own." I used to think that. No, I can't. No, I can't. We cannot do anything.
And Millie, you just inspired me. I'm sure you inspired the people. So I know I sometimes you have those moments of you ambitious and you want to work, you work hard, but sometimes you hit that wall sometimes. Like, damn, what am I not doing? Like and that just kind of leaning on God to kind of get you through. Because I know as entrepreneurs, we do it all the time. Once we hit that wall, it's hard to get up off that floor sometimes. It's hard to stay motivated all the time when you don't really see, like you see your vision, but that shit is just not coming true.
Yes.
And it's not happening for you. It's just that's when you lean on that with your faith. So I definitely applaud you.
Yes,
100%.
Pushing because that depression, that shit, a lot of people can learn from it. That depression ain't that nice.
It's not, and it took me a long time to get out of that hole because I was grieving a job that I loved, that I, basically started at 22 years old, and then at 33 everything as a Black woman in radio, trying to climb up, and you get to this peak, and then boom, lives have been changed with the coronavirus. And it took me a long time to realize that God had to reroute me and reroute my focus. And I'm going through this period of the wilderness for me to focus back on him, number one, because I was not focused on God at that time. And I can be honest and transparent. I was not reading my Bible. I was not praying consistently like I do now. And sometimes God will humble you down if you don't do it. And that's what he did to me. And sometimes, he has to rebuild you back up. And that is what I feel with the whole Sip and Sit podcast. He was rebuilding me from what I lost to get to this point. And he's just going to take me far. He's going to continue to take me far.
All the way to the top.
All the way to the top.
All the way to the top. And I feel like the journey that you're on, it says a lot about your podcast, and you see the quality and the hard work and everything that goes into it. You see it from beginning to end. I promise you do. And for me and for the guys, that's just more motivation for us to get back in front of this camera week after week when those when we have those days where we're not 100%, like today, I'm sure somebody, on this call is not 100% right now, but we're here because of the motivation. So that just fuels us even more. So thank you for giving us that insight, that sense of purpose to just keep doing what we're doing, because we know we're moving in the right direction. So,
and I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
And no matter, sometimes I get like that. I went through a period whereas I didn't want to do a podcast. I didn't, because I wasn't getting the reception. Nobody was supporting it. When I say nobody, people that I have supported along the way, whether it was family or friends, they wouldn't listen to it. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore if nobody is going to see my vision, if nobody is going to really support it. And it's hard to garner that support. But I was told in an interview that I did about a year and a half ago, and one of the girls told me, and it stuck with me, you have to be your biggest cheerleader, not anybody else. As long as you are your biggest cheerleader and you believe, you can accomplish anything. The followers will come, the views will come, but as long as you continue being your biggest cheerleader, that's the thing. You got to be your biggest cheerleader. And that is something that every day or every week I'm like, I don't feel like doing this. I can't. I used to like cancel podcasts because my anxiety was up. I wasn't feeling it. I said, I'm not gonna get this not gonna be good. I was expecting the worst, and that was my anxiety. And I feel like, even in media, a lot of podcasters, a lot of DJs, a lot of on-air personalities, we get that anxiety. Even working in radio, in any career, you will get that anxiety, like why am I doing this?
Yes.
But you got a purpose. God gave you a purpose. You got to use it as your pulpit.
You have to.
You got to use it.
You have to.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I said, and shout out to you too, because you're obviously walking in your purpose. You know what I'm saying? This is what you pray for, and this what the work is allowing you. The work is allowing you to do. And shout out to you, because this is not easy.
It's not.
Easy. Consistency is not easy.
It's
but
not.
When you really want something and you work for it and you pray for it, God will show you what you're doing is right. Shout out to you for real.
And to add to that, when you don't feel like doing it, like I can have a bad hair day and I'm like, I got to put on makeup, and half the time I don't even want to put on no lashes, no makeup. My hair ain't done currently, but it's like, you know what? You got to push through it. It doesn't matter what you look like. As long as you putting out that content, somebody's watching you. Somebody is watching you, cheering you on. Like now, even like I call it my sister circle. And outside of my sorors, but my sister circle, like my close friends that actually text me, hey girl, keep doing your thing. Girl, you were so funny. Oh, he's cute. Oh, she did her thing. I love her. I watch her all the time. And it motivates me to keep putting out that content. No matter if it's one person that just says, you know what, I respect your hustle, girl. I respect what you're doing. Keep doing it. That makes my whole day. That makes when somebody personally hits my cell phone that's a friend or comments under or just likes something, that means a lot to me because it tells me that no matter out of 18,000 whoever how many viewers, if I got that one person, I done reached somebody.
That one.
That's all
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's all it takes is that good one.
It's one person.
That's all it takes. That's
What?
all it takes.
Because I just redid my logo for my graphic design business. I put it on Facebook. For the first time, my sister actually shared it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing to her, but it meant a lot to me.
It does, because sometimes you feel that even your close friends or your family members, they don't see, or they don't see your vision, or they don't support your vision. But when you least expect it, they could share something. They could tell a friend to say, hey, make sure you tune into my brother's podcast.
Yep.
He's on every Wednesday, or they drop every week, on this day. And it's like, wow, I didn't even think you cared, but you just never know. And even when she shared that, it did make you feel good. It's like, dang,
it
I
definitely
appreciate
did.
that. It makes you feel good that the people that are closest to you see what you're doing.
Yes.
They admire that consistency and hard work.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Goes a long way.
They can't be denied from it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep coming.
Yeah. Now that consistency piece is everything, and I feel like for anybody, consistency, with a job, day 1 to day 60 is different. They want you to not miss no days within them first 90 days because they want to see what consistency. Anytime you start something, I can go back to the first episode that we recorded where it was just me and CP, and I was doing a Birdman hand rub the whole episode because I was so nervous. So, and now at this point in time, I can get in front of a crowd of people and talk as if I'm just talking to y'all. So that consistency is everything. But the people see it and they go from, okay, they got a podcast to, okay, they dropped 10 episodes to, okay, they interviewing people now to, okay, you know what, let me see what they're really doing right now, because obviously they're not stopping. So let me see what they're doing. And then that's another fan, that's another subscriber, that's another follower, that's another supporter. So consistency is the one word we've heard since the very beginning. And literally from the day we launched this podcast and we started recording, we just kept hearing the word consistency. And we've had our ups and we've had our downs, but throughout the entire journey, we've continued to stay consistent, and it's shown because we've continued to expand, we continue to grow. And when you think it's like, all right, we're gonna start to plateau out and we're gonna start to just coast out. No, we just go up another level. And then we continue to keep moving. So it's one of those things it's so weird to explain. And you as a podcast host as well, you understand that when it comes to and you stand alone in your podcast, you are a one-woman band. So with that being said, your outlook is a lot different than ours, because I ain't gonna lie, I rely on my team so much, because there's days where I can't even get in front of this camera, but I know that they are there, and they might not know it, but they're picking me up. Like days like today, I had a rough morning, if we're gonna be transparent, and I text CP and I was like, man, I feel like giving up. He was like, that's not an option. And I just read the message and I was like, it's not. He shared some stuff with me that motivated me, and I was like, nope, it's not an option. I'm telling him it's not an option now, like, so it's one of those things. So my question to you is, how do you get through those days where it's just like, all right, I just can't do it? Like, what do you lean on? I know God is in your corner always, but do you have a certain routine? Do you read a book? Do you have a certain podcast you listen to? What's your routine look like when it comes to podcasting in those days where you just don't have that energy?
I'm glad that you asked that question. One thing I do is I write in my journal, and actually I put out a journal during the springtime. It's available on Amazon. And I just started to write. And one thing I do that gets me through, like, okay, Ash, you can push through this. But of course, I rely on prayer. I write my prayers down. And one thing I've been praying for for a while now is being consistent, like asking God, show me how to be consistent, because there's days I don't want to do it. It's days that I'll cancel a podcast because my headspace isn't there. I might be tired from the day, and I can be transparent, but it's like, can we reschedule this for the next day? And I pop back. But of course, journaling, it gets me, through it, to push through, because it's like, you know what, write down what you feeling, pray about what you feeling, and ask God to, like, God, help me to be more consistent, help me to have strength. And number one, strength and patience. And sometimes you have to give yourself grace. Not every day is going to be a good day, but that's when you lean on God for help. You know what I'm saying? A book that I've been reading, of course, is like my Bible. I had never read the Bible from like front to back. And I am in the New Testament now. And I started in January. And I tried to read like a couple of chapters each day. And it's giving me peace. And I can get through anything. And I credit that as well. That helps me to be consistent and push through, is opening my Bible, or listening to like a good TD Jakes podcast, or Sarah Jakes Roberts of empowerment and things. And then I'll just, go on Instagram, see something funny, somebody will share a meme with me, and I laugh. But it is really journaling and reading my Bible like that really kind of pushes me and gets me through.
Millie, you said something that kind of resonated with me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so key, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I think many times my pastor actually talked about this like a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about prayer without action, prayer
Mm.
without work.
It's dead.
The
Yeah.
purpose of prayer is to put it in His hands, but then
Mm-hmm.
also believe that He's going to do it. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we get into this mindset, we pray and then we still worry, or
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
pray, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
we pray and don't do the work. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
still work to be done, but the part of prayer is to believe that He's going to do it. That's going to take your worry and your stress away, but that
Oh
don't mean
yeah.
you stop doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Amen.
that grace word has probably been one of my words
Mm-hmm.
between grace and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my
Mm-hmm.
word. That's been my two
Mm-hmm.
words for the year. So
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yes.
that you pointed that out. I
Yes.
think all entrepreneurs, just
Yeah.
people in general, need to hear that. Just give yourself
Mm-hmm.
some grace. I
Mm-hmm.
like that.
And that's the
Well,
name of my journal. Like, I wanted to create a journal that's basic, so when you open that page, that journal is nothing but blank, and you just write. And so the name of my journal is Healing is a Journey, Give Yourself Grace. And for the past year, I have been on this spiritual journey of healing, forgiving people. And when you actually forgive people, you can move mountains. Like, it feels like a weight lifted off your shoulder, and you can
yeah.
actually, do continue to do the things that you want to do, and not hold a grudge, and not feel any type of way. And like I said, journaling, like, is therapeutic. It has helped me. Therapy, number one, has helped me in so many ways, but just really honing in on my growth at 36. It's just amazing. It's amazing. I wouldn't change it. I'm happy.